Hi there, I hope all is well. School's right around the corner, or maybe it already started for you. And I wanted to make a video for any Christian student who can watch and possibly relate to, and one that you can come back to so that you can hopefully find a place in which you're not only spiritually stable, but you also know that you're not alone in your problems. Let's go over some things that most students are going to face this year. A lot of students this year are going to face stress, obviously. There's heartbreak, there's academic failure, there's loneliness, there may be depression, there may be alcohol, drug use, there may be promiscuous things going on with your friends. Maybe you're like me, in which you feel like a little bit of an odd one out because you actually believe in making right decisions and good decisions, and that may make you feel a little alone, or you wish you could go out and party, but you also know it's a sin to drink too much. Proverbs actually says, 20 verse 1, drinking too much makes you loud and foolish. It's stupid to get drunk. Now, I think this also applies with drugs, even though I don't think any drug use is mentioned in the Bible. But also, you may start experiencing people having sex in school, and a lot of it. And not only are these things happening, but I know there's a culture on campus in which it's okay. You know, it used to be taboo and now it's not. I think unfortunately, because I think if we kind of were to keep these values still alive, less heartbreak and less pain and less loneliness would be in the world right now amongst our young people, but that's for another video. But if this feels like you, or you're possibly experiencing some family issues, I want you to know that you're not alone at all. And I bet so many people, so many of my subscribers are feeling the same way. And I love reading those comments of people saying, you know, I'm 16, I'm 15, and I'm a Catholic, and I'm doing the same thing as you. And I always feel alone in my faith because I feel like I'm the only one who actually believes in saving sex till marriage. I believe in not drinking and doing drugs. I believe in volunteerism and being selfless, being kind and not lying and stealing, and all my friends are doing all these things, and I don't know where to turn to. So I'm glad that we were able to kind of create a community here. How do we overcome these hurdles that you are possibly and most likely going to face, at least one of which I have mentioned? Anytime, and this goes outside of school, anytime you're in a crisis, in need of help and just a person, I highly recommend going to adoration. Go before the Blessed Sacrament. You don't even have to be Catholic in order to go in front of the Blessed Sacrament. Going to adoration is going to change your life forever. Just dedicate 1 hour and go there. Make the trek to go to adoration. And I know there's a lot of fear when going to adoration that, oh my gosh, well, what if I just don't feel anything? Or that was boring, I didn't get anything out of that. Well, I think half of that problem has to do with your mindset, less than actually feeling Jesus' presence, which I thankfully have always been able to do after changing my mindset. First of all, when you go into adoration, I need you to turn off your phone, and before even entering the chapel or the space, whatever your church has, I need you to pray before and say, God, I don't really know what I'm doing right now, but I just know and I feel in my heart to come to you, and I need you right now. So before I even come face to face with you, I just want to know that your presence is in my heart and in my head, and that I can hopefully feel you when I enter this room. When you go in, sit down. I also highly recommend bringing a Bible and a rosary, but you can do what you want. Sit down and just look at Jesus. Now, it's very hard, I know, when you're in a little room and maybe there's some noise. Usually there's noise for me, and it's hard to focus, but just to take a deep breath and look at Jesus. And if you don't know what to say or what to do, just call out his name. Jesus wants you so badly, you don't even know. He died for our sins, every single one of them, when he was on that cross. Every single one. And he would do it again. And he's constantly doing it at Mass. So go before him, tell him what's going on, and just call to him. Read your Bible if you're there, just a verse, just a passage, maybe a whole chapter, and hear God's word. Reflect and understand what's going on. So, first one is go to adoration. Number 2, I highly recommend, for me this kind of goes hand in hand. I'm not really sure why they both do, but you will see a drastic change in your life when you start doing this. Pray daily before bed. It doesn't have to be 20 minutes, it doesn't have to be 40 minutes, it can be if you'd like to, and honestly I believe the more time the better. But I even just started out, you know, when I had a really tough time one year, I think, and I would just fall to my knees by my bed and just pray for 3 minutes, 4 minutes, that's all I could give at the time. And I just would give my heart out to Jesus. And then it just became an addiction and a habitual thing, and now every night it's like what I need to get through my next day. And it's a perfect way to finish off my day. So get down on your knees before your bed, cross your hands, your fingers, and just pour your heart out. Tell him what's wrong. I mean, he already knows it, but you know, speak to him. Have a relationship with him. Every single relationship with anybody needs work and needs communication, so come to him. And this also, for some reason, really works when you also have a workout schedule. I realized that I started working out habitually at the exact same time that I started praying at my bedside every night. Really highly encourage that you start forming these healthy patterns and these healthy habits so that you can cultivate not only a healthy mind and a happy mind, but also you can implement all the things that you learned. And let me tell you, you learn a lot from working out. You learn a lot from yourself. You learn self-confidence, you learn discipline, you learn self-motivation. It's great. And then you kind of like infiltrate this into your faith, and it's this beautiful work of, you know, working out your body and then working out your mind and your spiritual side. It's amazing. So I highly recommend that you start taking care of yourself spiritually, mentally, and physically, okay? Now, my third piece of advice, if you are feeling lonely or going through something really tough, is to start doing things that you've always wanted to do, but were too afraid to do. So for me, I remember, I'm gonna be real with you, I really struggle with jealousy. And it's gotten so much better since, you know, thankfully the faith and working out, but I struggled so much with jealousy. And there was this one girl in my school who I thought had everything because she was volunteering all the time, she had great grades, she was always hanging out with people, she was always doing something, and she always had like this purpose. And I wasn't doing anything at the time. I was just going to school and then coming home and do my homework, and then that was it pretty much. And she had this like life, and she had this passion. She was doing things she wanted to do. She was making like friendship bracelets. She was, I don't know, it was just, she was great, and she incorporated so many things into her life. And then once I started realizing I can be that, and now I am that. Like, I never thought that in my daily schedule I would be answering emails to a YouTube channel and then playing piano for 30 minutes and then doing my friendship bracelets on my water bottle every day, and doing my makeup routine and my night routine and doing my hair and having a relationship with God, and now doing and working out a lot and perfecting, you know, like sports and pursuing volleyball a little more. And like, you need to be able to start doing things outside of the school norm, because those kinds of patterns that you form at an early age are what going to propel you in life, and I already know it. Had I just been still lazy and kind of sloth-like and just not really doing anything with my life at 16 and 15 and not making that switch, which really came when the switch really came when I was like during quarantine and COVID. I mean, you can probably see in the videos how much I've changed, but it doesn't matter. What I'm saying is, making these healthy habits and doing these patterns are going to keep your mind busy, and you're going to find a lot of purpose in yourself and a lot of capability, and you're going to realize that you're not just a student, you're not just a daughter or son of Christ, you are the daughter and son of Christ, you are the student, you are the athlete, you are the, you know, whatever you're doing. And you can, and having all of these come together is just, it's going to make such a beautiful balance in your life. And your mental health is also going to improve, because I can kind of guarantee that social media is going to be less use, you're going to use social media less. And then that actually brings me to my next point, which is to delete social media right now. I could have never imagined deleting social media. I was 14 years old in high school when, you know, I was like everybody else, going on Instagram maybe 2 hours a day, using Snapchat whenever I wanted, you know, saving the videos from Snapchat to the memories and stuff like that. And, you know, I was an avid social media user. But I just wanted to try and see if I could go 40 days without it. So I used that for Lent. And I had finally been able to use like a really good concrete excuse as to why I can't use social media, and I used Lent, and I highly recommend that you do that. Because now, if I break my promise, I'm breaking my promise to God, not just to myself. Because before I had no, self-accountability. So now God is my accountability, right? I'm doing this for God, for myself and for God. And I deleted the social media, and I had never gone back. I mean, I tried getting it, but then immediately I didn't want it again. And my mental health was unbelievably better. I wasn't comparing myself to these girls on Instagram. I wasn't comparing likes. I wasn't jealous of anybody anymore. I was focusing on me, and I didn't need to compare myself to the world, and I also didn't need to prove anything to the world anymore. It is just rotting your brain. I guarantee you are wasting so much precious time. People before technology were actually living life. It may not have been really easy or a good life per se, because there were a lot of problems that we don't experience now that they did. But I really encourage that we go back to being able to live normal, like real life, not virtual life. And I know that's easy for me to say because I'm doing this YouTube channel, but I actually don't go online that much. I mean, I'm only on my computer for school and for YouTube, and I pretty much every time I upload, I upload it and then I'm like done. And so after deleting it, you will see that your mental health is just going to improve tenfold. I don't know exactly what happens, but being able, we live in a society right now where we want that dopamine hit so bad. And so when you get dependent on that and you become addicted to that, you are going to realize that you're not going to be able to function in the real world where that dopamine hit doesn't exist. So I highly recommend that you start eliminating that dependency on it as early as possible before it becomes a problem. Because I personally don't want to sit with my husband in bed and we're both on our phone, like on Facebook or something. I want to be able to either read a book or speak, actually have interaction and connection again. So live real life and get out there. I just want to give you now a little bit more like one-to-one. I want to talk about something that's really important to my heart, and I think it's very hushed and not even spoken about anymore, and that's sexual promiscuity. This was the most shocking thing going into high school for me. Cause I watched the movies when I was in middle school and elementary school, and I was like, oh my gosh, like everybody, like, oh my gosh, like they were having sex, but I never thought it was actually in high school. Until I was in 8th grade one day. It was in the summertime before high school, so it was in between 8th grade and freshman year. And I was on my best friend's bed, and we were like doing girl stuff, like doing her nails or whatever, doing her hair. I was at her house, and she was telling me this story about this couple in high school who had just had sex. And they were older, but I remember being so shocked by that because I was like, oh my gosh, this is real. And my faith was solid at that point. And I remember being on that bed, I kind of zoned her out, and I was just thinking in my head and talking to God for a minute. I was like, God, I don't want to fall into this sin. Not only because it is a sin, and I'm pretty sure I've seen a couple articles in saying that like sexual sin is actually the worst kind of sin, alongside pride. But I didn't want to experience this because I knew there was so much heartbreak, and I knew there was so much pain. And unfortunately, I was right. And so seeing how all my friends fell into that, I was the only person who was saving myself. Out of all my friends, I'm still the last one. Even amongst my Catholic and Christian friends, I'm the last one. I was so worried that by the end of the 4 years I would have given into that and to have gone through with it just because everybody else was. But it has been the best decision of my life to stay true to my promise to God, and I can almost guarantee that my relationship with Jesus is stronger now because I have that with Him. I really want to encourage girls to possibly start doing this again, because I don't want to see another girl experiencing heartbreak. I don't want to see another girl crying because her boyfriend broke up with her, but the breakup was so hard because they were tied because of that, because of doing it. And I didn't want to see another boy use a girl for her body, and I didn't want to see another girl be so saddened as to why he used her for her body. And at the end of the day, you can't control what others do, but I want to highly encourage you to not do it. I really want to encourage you to focus on these 3 things. And although I gave you the basics and the backbone, and I can make a 10 billion hour video on everything that I could recommend to you and talk to you about concerning school and making good decisions and everything, I highly recommend, if you want a successful time in school, you need to work on 4 things. Your academics, your mental health, your mental health, your physical health, and your spiritual health, okay? Work on those 4. Now, however you do that is great, but from the tips that I gave you just now, they all kind of hit all of those. So start forming healthy habits and you'll see that your perspective on your situation is going to change. I remember being in high school and I wasn't always depressed, but I was just never fully happy and satisfied and joyful like I am now. Like, I don't think I've gone a day in the past maybe year without like waking up with a smile on my face. Because when you change your perspective and you start working on yourself, you'll realize that all these little mundane things do not matter. Let me give you an example. Like I was saying, when I was in I've never been joyful. No, so what did I change and what did I switch to become now a really joyful young lady, I guess? Well, to be honest with you, I red-pilled myself, as many of you know. And if you don't know what that means when you start to kind of understand where the conservative values are lying, and then you start aligning with them. And so I did that, and I stopped making excuses. I was in school, I was the chubby girl. I was so frustrated with boys because no guys ever really liked me. I wasn't like fat, like I was just I had a little more chub on me compared to my friends who were all like Barbie dolls, but it doesn't matter. I was so frustrated because no guy had ever wanted to date me, not one. And then I red-pilled myself and I stopped making excuses for the way that I looked. And then I started taking care of myself. I started wearing makeup, doing my hair, wearing nice clothes, wearing jewelry, and becoming more feminine. And you've probably actually seen throughout the progress of this channel me change a little bit, because when I started I was still not who I am today. I mean, look at this. Like, I don't think I ever would have imagined having like a backdrop like this, and it's been amazing. I never would have thought of wearing a flower in my hair. And now, and not only that, but I started working out and I lost 25 pounds. And maybe you've seen that throughout the progressions of the videos too, because I started working out in the past like year or so. And now I have the body that I really dreamed about, and I have the hair that I love, like all these aspects of me that I'm so happy with because I actually took accountability for myself. And then I realized that all my stupid little problems in school didn't matter because I have goals and I have 4 things that I'm targeting and that I'm constantly working on. My mental health, my physical health, my spirituality, and my academics. And that's all I'm focusing on. Because at the end of the road, my goal in life, and I hope everyone creates a goal in life, my goal in life is to be a teacher. So every day I wake up and I'm like, okay, I'm going to school for these kids. Okay, this degree is for the kids. Okay, I'm sacrificing my sleep so I can get really good grades, so I can get to a really good school, so I can get a really good degree for these kids. Because I want to give them the best possible education that they could possibly get, and I want them to have the best and most knowledgeable that I could be as a teacher that they could possibly get. Work on these 4 currently, and you'll see that all those little problems in your life are just going to dissipate and they're just going to go away. I guarantee it. I remember having all these social struggles, like, oh my gosh, I'm so insecure about being alone, or walking in the hall alone, or doing all these activities alone, or something like that. Or I would be like, I'm the only a non-athlete out of my, I was a cheerleader, so I guess that doesn't count, but I was always so jealous of my friends because they were so athletic. And now I don't care if I'm alone because I'm with Jesus constantly, and now I know I can make friends with anyone as long as you're kind and you have Jesus on your sleeve practically, and you show them the love that Jesus shows you. And now I have my dream body, and I'm constantly working at volleyball because that's what I used to play for like 2 years after I quit. And so now I'm practicing and perfecting my volleyball skills. I deleted social media and now I'm just reading books, so I'm working on my mental health, and it's great because social media doesn't do anything. You may think that you're learning something if you're reading articles or whatever on social media. It's garbage. I guarantee your brain is rotting and you're wasting time. You need to live in the real life. But anyway, as I was saying, and then spiritually, every night I'm by my bed. Every time I can, I'm at confession, I'm at adoration, I go to mass every Sunday, and your life starts to kind of just come together in this beautiful way. And I'm not really sure why and how it just all of a sudden happened, but my 14, 15-year-old brain could have never imagined that I'd actually have the body that I wanted, because that was the biggest thing for me, was my body and my insecurity with my weight and how I looked. And I could have never imagined that I'd have abs now, that I'd have toned legs, that I would have that I would have lost all my facial flub, and I would have had smaller arms. I never would have imagined this. And now, actually attracting guys, and I'm not trying to boast, but I'm just trying to say, you realize that those little things in school you have to work on as soon as possible, so then when you're in the real world and when you're in the adult world, you're able to fix those upcoming problems on your own, because you were able to do so in school. You cultivated those skills, and now you can apply it into the real world, and you can make the world a better place. So that's my advice for today. Ultimately, I can give you way more advice on what to do specifically for your situation if you'd like, but really target those 4 things: your mental health, your physical health, your spirituality, and your academics, okay? I hope you have a blessed day. I'm praying for you. I hope this helps in a little bit. You're not alone, I guarantee. You're gonna be okay, I promise. I'm here for you. If you ever need anything, email me if you have any questions, or if you just need a friend to talk to. If you're feeling alone, if you're struggling, I'd love to help. Just let me know, okay? God bless. I'm praying for you. Bye.